Welcome to Phoenix Rising, a superior podcast for all of your transformative tools for personal and spiritual growth. Let's go get that nugget. Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled between rolling hills and thick forests, there lived a young woman named Elara. Elara had always felt a little different, not in a way that set her apart from others, but in a way that made her feel quietly connected to something deeper, something unseen. She spent her days helping in the village bakery, kneading dough with care, and tending to the herb garden behind her small cottage. Yet there was always a feeling in her chest, like a soft fluttering of wings that hinted at something more. As a child, Elara often felt a certain warmth in her fingertips when she touched the earth or whispered to the wind. The villagers called her kind-hearted, someone who always seemed to know when someone was sad, when an animal was hurt, or when a storm was coming. It wasn't that she saw these things, it was simply that she knew. One crisp autumn morning, while gathering herbs in the forest, Elara felt a pull, stronger than anything she'd ever known. She found herself wandering deeper into the woods, her feet moving as though guided by something outside of her. The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. As she walked, the trees seemed to bow ever so slightly, welcoming her as she passed. Finally, she came to a clearing she had never seen before, though she had walked this forest many times. At the center of the clearing stood an ancient oak tree, its trunk wide and gnarled, its roots weaving into the earth like the threads of an ancient tapestry. Elara felt an overwhelming sense of peace as she approached it. She knelt down and placed her hands in the earth beneath the tree. At the moment, a tingling sensation ran through her fingertips, traveling up her arms and filling her entire being with warmth and light. She didn't question it. There was no need. The energy felt familiar, like an old friend returning home. Closing her eyes, Elara began to feel the heartbeat of the earth beneath her. She could hear the whispers of the wind, not as a sound, but as a feeling, a deep knowing. It was then that she realized she wasn't learning magic. She was magic. It had always been there, nestled in her bones, waiting for her to remember. As she stood, she noticed a soft, glowing light emanating from the palm of her hand. It wasn't blinding, nor was it intimidating. It was comforting, like the warmth of a hearth on a cold winter night. She reached out instinctively, and as she did it, the leaves of the great oak began to shimmer and dance. Flowers bloomed at its roots despite the season, and the gentle breeze carried their sweet fragrance through the clearing. From that day forward, Elara's life changed, though not in a grand or dramatic way. She didn't become this powerful witch of legend. Instead, she became more herself. She used her gifts to heal sick animals, to help plants grow in the harshest conditions, and to bring a sense of calm and love to the people of her village. Her magic wasn't about power or control. It was about connection, about knowing and trusting herself and the world around her. Elara's days were simple yet full. She felt the rhythm of the earth in every step she took, and she honored it with small acts of kindness and care. Her power was soft and subtle, woven into the fabric of her daily life. But in her heart, she knew it was profound, an ancient gift passed down through generations of women who, like her, had come to realize that true magic wasn't something you learned. It was something you remembered, something you became. And so Elara lived her life, as she always had, with love, gentleness, and a quiet knowing. She was a witch, but more importantly, she was Elara, a woman in tune with the magic of the world and the magic within herself. What a profound story. I love stories because when you listen to them, you can stretch your imagination, but yet come across this profoundness that is true life, the magic or the mysticism of life and energy and healing and the power that lies within. I truly feel like we have magic, and we don't have it. We are magic. If you know anything about me, you know I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. And I love the dynamics of the characters within the books and within the movies of Harry Potter, is that each of the characters has their own strength and has their own differences about them that kind of pulls out throughout the stories. And that's us. You know, all of these characters, they all can learn different spells and hexes and curses and potions and stuff like that. But they all have this unique ability, something that makes them you. And the message that I've been getting very, very strongly these last couple of weeks is living your authentic life. And I feel like if we use this overlay of Elara in our lives, is this longing or this pulling to go do something that's bigger than ourselves. I feel like when we are empty inside, emotionally or physically or environmentally, and our buckets are empty, is that we become very selfish and self-absorbed and trying to get that need met. And we, instead of looking inward for the answer, we look outside of us to try to fulfill that bucket. And it might last a tiny little bit. You know, it might last a few minutes, an hour, a week, or whatever. And then it's empty again. And my whole personal and spiritual development journey, I kept hearing we have all the answers inside. And these two messages, actually 3 messages that I've been getting over this last, 2 to 3 weeks, is being my authentic self and letting others be their authentic selves, but also connecting to intuition and following that guidance. And then the third is spending more time connecting to guides specifically. And it's all a big statement, right? It's this big piece of energy. But if you're struggling with anything, then it is now the last place you look, right? We always look at the people around us. We look to food, alcohol, gambling, money, jobs, our boss, our kids, the rest of our surroundings to try to fulfill that need. And it's always the last place you look that's going to have the true answers and really the truth. And when you spend that time going inward, in the beginning, it might seem kind of boring. I'm focusing on my what now? I'm going to focus on my breathing. Okay, so I'll do that for about 10 seconds, and then I'm up engaging with my environment again. But I will say that once you do it, you never go back. You never give up that power again. A couple of years ago, I wish I could tell you what book I was reading back then, because of course I've got 5 or 6 books going right now, but I was reading a book, and actually, it was Esther Hicks and kind of getting in the vortex, if you know who that is, and Esther and Jerry Hicks, and she connects to a guide called Abraham and gets downloaded messages, she says, to audiences and lots of videos. And I was pretty much addicted to listening to her, like several videos every single day, bought tons of the books, never saw them in person, but for about 2 years. And when I looked back at my life over that span of 2 years, I remember one night reading, like in the middle of the night, some blog about Esther Hicks and basically it being like a cult. And I don't agree with it being a cult, but I felt like I was addicted to it. And I look over the span of my 2 years, I made 0 progress, at least nothing noticeable that I could see. And if you know anything about me, I look for simple yet powerful tools and techniques that move my life along. And I want to engage with somebody that I kind of resonate with. But what it started for me back then, and what the simple message was, is that we all have guides, we all have intuition, and we all have this inner power. And that inner power, intuition, those guides, our guides are more specific to us, because those can be people who have passed, or our guardian angels, or whatever you want to call them, or saints, mystics, whatever. But the intuition and that guidance is the one thing that we're all connected to. It's the thing we're all connected to. Source, God, the universe, superconscious, whatever. And we can all tap into it. And what that led me to do back then is to connect to my own guides. And Amy and I used to do this together, and we got some really, really incredible perspective and downloads by me connecting to my guide. So I'm tapping in, and I'm basically opening my chakras and my crown chakra, and then welcoming and inviting guides in. And it was this really profound experience. And I found it to be very like powerful, but it was the truth. And words don't really explain what it was. And that's not even really what I want to talk about today, but really just the power within us that you can do that too. And does it take some practice? Yes, of course. And does it take, an open mind and an open heart to be able to get into that place that you're like awake and sleeping? So as Joe Dispenza calls it, it is like your body is asleep, but your mind is awake. And that is the theta brainwave. But when I connected to my guides and I got this perspective, man, does it give you this overall compassion and empathy and a knowing. And my whole existence is I'm a truth seeker and I'm a teacher. So I seek the truth in all these readings and these books and courses and videos and blogs and all these things that I'm constantly reading all day long. And I seek the truth. So I'm tapped into my intuition. I read this information and I go, that's not true, or that is, or that's powerful, or that isn't. And then I share it with you. You can do that too. And when we start this journey, it is this amazing, beautiful thing that you have to kind of overcome the other things in your life. You have to overcome the environment. You have to overcome your body. You have to overcome this part of your mind that's the analytical mind, the part of your mind that's anchored in this environment and the 3D world, that you have to get over that hump, if you will, because we are anchored in our human experience in this 3D world and all these tangible things around us. And eventually, when you're looking for the solution to your problem, you have to go to the last place you think you would look, and that's inside. And I just love this so much that I'm always with myself. So if I'm standing here and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Or I need to solve this problem, or I need to overcome this thing, is that I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to call Amy and I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to call my mom, or I'm going to call my dad, or I'm going to go over here, I'm going to read this article. And it's like, dude, why don't you sit down and go inward and ask the question? So that has been something that I've really, really been focusing on. And it has been quite a journey for the last several years. And the other thing is authenticity. So I've been listening to Jeffrey Allen, who created a course through Mind Valley several years ago called Duality. And I've been kind of coming back around to listening to him. He's created some YouTube videos and I've been listening to him. And even though it's been probably 10 or so days now, he has this kind of underlying message, and he's an energy worker and a healer. And he says two things, and I want to tell you this. One is about living your authentic self. And the other is about basically working energy as if you already know how to do it. And I have my own personal techniques, and I share some of those techniques with you. But that was really profound for me, and it's even more profound for me now. And I took this course probably, I don't know, it was early, or it was probably 2017, something like that. It was a while ago. And I got what I needed then, and then here I am again, however many years later, doing it again. But anyway, but living authentically. So it's interesting, I'm in kind of a world with other entrepreneurs, and I'm in this mastermind group, and there's this one girl in there that's always saying how she's taking all these courses. And she's just exactly where I was in business, however many years ago, where I was like, I need this course, I need this course, I need this. I'm buying all these courses. I'm a part of all these things. I absolutely love learning. And I keep hearing her talking about, I know I'm supposed to just get my thing done, but I signed up for this course and it's a 6-week course. So basically my stuff gets put on hold until I'm done with the 6 weeks. And in my mind, I keep thinking, just start your course, start your life, start the thing, do the practice, go inward, start the meditation practice, go and do it every single day, and build on that, because days are going to go by and you won't have started yet. And in the personal and spiritual development arena, we are taught to go find somebody who has the success that you want and then model what they did to shortcut your way to that success. And I think that's a great idea. However, are you living authentically? And I was a part of this coaching program a long time ago, a few 4 or 5 years ago. And she was all about write emails every single day, gather emails, build the list, write an email, it's all the whole big thing. And the more she did it, the more overwhelmed I felt. Well, if I did that, then I'm not living my authentic self, because my authentic self is being here right now through my podcast with you. And I love my podcast. I love talking. I love stories. I love the way my voice sounds in my headphones, of how you're receiving me right now, or my message right now. And I love that. And that lights me up. Forcing myself to write a bunch of emails, though I do have an email marketing, technique with my group, but it's not me. And so no matter what you're doing in your life, as Elara is, back to the story at the beginning of the podcast, is that she's doing this business. She's working in bakery and gathering herbs, but somewhere in there, she's feeling this calling, something that's pulling at her. And if you pay attention, if you get to the quiet space inside your mind, you're going to unlock that. But it's like this quiet friend. And when I was younger, I was super, super shy and low self-esteem. My brother and my mom, very dominating personalities. So I was pretty quiet. My brother moved out when I was 12. I was going into 7th grade. He was going into 8th grade, and he moved in with my dad. And that was a very scary time for me. And I would say right about 9th grade, I started to really open up. And I was kind of in that obnoxious stage. I was a very late bloomer. I was early to start school. But then that's when I really started talking a lot. And my friends that I had in school were very quiet. I had this one best friend, Betty, and she and I hung out. We had a bunch of classes together, and she was super quiet. And I remember thinking that someone who talks a lot, usually you have the opposite kind of as your friend sometimes. And for me, all my friends were quiet. And even my best friends now, outside of my relationship with Amy, are quiet. And I just find that to be interesting. But if you think of your intuition or your guides, they're like that too. And so we have to get to that quiet space in our minds to allow them to come through, allow those messages to show up. And if I'm talking all the time, if I'm busying myself all the time, or I'm tuning out in technology, I can't hear them. I can't connect with them, because there's too much going on in my head. There's too much going on in my world. And those of you that live these chaotic, overwhelming lives, no matter what it is you're doing, your family, your friends, technology, whatever, that if you're quiet, you can start to tap inward and feel the connection, or feel the pulse within you that is trying to direct you, that is trying to nudge you in a way that allows you to begin to light up your path. Because as we walk around now, we're kind of in the dark. We just do what we do. We move over here. We go over here. We take this job. We date this person. We spend our money. We just kind of flip around, and we kind of like bang it around out there, and we don't really know what we're doing. And we're hoping that whatever it is we're doing is going to elicit some great, grand response. And maybe accidentally that's going to happen, but it's not going to be consistent. And I don't know about you. I want to tap into my power. I want to tap in, because it's a knowing for me, and it's the truth. I can feel it. I can sense it. It's been there my whole life. I've used it in different ways, even without knowing that that's what I was doing. And I've told you the story about when I was going to the mailbox, and I would turn off, I had all these friends, probably 15 years old, and I had this boyfriend that lived a couple hours from me, lived where my brother and my dad were living, and then I had these other friends that were in that small town that I was waiting, wanting letters from them in the mail. And I remember going out to the mailbox, and I didn't know the word, but I was trying to, quote, manifest letters in the mail. So I would yell to my mom, "Okay, Mom, I'm going to go get the mail." And then I would say to myself, though there won't be anything in there. And I did that on purpose to try to create something. Now, I think about that moment often. Why did I do that? How did I even know to even think like that, or to do anything like that. And then when I would say, sometimes I would cancel it like that, and I would say, though there won't be anything out there for me, what I was trying to do is letting go of the forcing and the kinking of trying to get that something to show up in the mailbox. And sometimes it would happen. I'd get a letter or two in the mail. And then the other day I'd be like, I'm going out to, get some mail. I hope my friends wrote me. And then there'd be nothing in there, and I'd be so disappointed. Well, I've analyzed that tens of thousands of times over the last 35 years. And I remember thinking, why was I doing that? Here's another one. I'd be driving. I'm a pretty fast driver, and my parents, my mom and stepdad live about 2 hours south of me, and I'd be on my way there, and all of a sudden I would have this kind of download that maybe there's deer on the side of the road. It's kind of a country drive, or, there's a cop that's hidden in this, ditch or something, the end of this driveway, and I'm going to get a ticket or whatever. And then I would say out loud, no cops or no deer. Now, why would I say that? Why did I do that? How did I know to do that? And to me, these little tiny clips and glimpses are letting me know that there's a truth out there that I'm unaware of. And now I want to become aware of it. And I've been expanding on that truth for several years. I mean, double-digit years, where meditation and guides and intuition and connecting and opening my chakras and then I'm a truth seeker and communicator, and then I'm a teacher. So I seek it, I practice it, I do it, and then I have this great epiphany, and then I'm like, okay, now I got to share this with everybody. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I do, is I help you connect to that power. I help you become empowered. And empowered is the word, and if you break it down, it's in power. And we are in it. Our lives can change. We can heal our body. I've worked that. It's an amazing feat when something is aching or paining, and you're just like, dude, I've had this pain in my body for however long, and I'm like, let's heal it. Let's go. You have the ability to heal. And if you believe it, you can do it. You can heal it. And so living by this power, that is you. That is your authentic you. And that is the truth. And then this last one, I'll just spend a minute on this, is having the confidence to know how to do it, how to work with energy. And I do these weird things with my hands, and I visualize these different things to kind of get me in it. I'm using all of my faculties, which this imagination and visualizing and kind of this fantasy kind of space. And I do whatever it is I do to create whatever, or connect to the energy of whatever it is I'm trying to connect to, whether I'm trying to heal, I'm trying to help heal someone else, I'm trying to manifest something, I'm trying to find a solution to a problem. Whatever I'm doing is that I literally act as if I already know how to do it. So I light incense, I move my hands around a certain way, I repeat certain words or mantras or sayings to bring about this connection to the energy. Now, did somebody teach me that? Well, no. I do it because it's what I know. And so I want to encourage you to do the same thing. I want to encourage you to go inward, spend a few minutes. I'm always saying, spend 5 minutes, go inward, and just explore the inner parts of your body. Explore the energy of your body. See if you can feel the energy pulsing through. Focus on your fingertips for a few minutes. Focus on the soles of your feet. Focus on your heart. See if you can even feel your heartbeat. Bring your awareness to the middle of your head. Through the next several episodes, I'm going to begin talking about this more, is this journey inward, because if you are struggling with anything, emotional, physical, or environmental, this is where the solution lies. I promise you. And I'm not going to give you the solution. I don't know the answer to your problem specifically, but I will tell you is go inward. It's kind of like you're lost in Chicago and I'm going to hand you a map, right? If you're lost in life, the map, my friend, is inside. It's inside of you. And when you illuminate that map, you begin to unlock solutions to whatever is going on in your life. Whatever is going on in your life. If you're struggling with health, if you're struggling with some emotional baggage, if you're struggling with something in your environment that just isn't releasing and letting go and you're not getting in the flow, the map is inside. And I would love to share with you some different tools and techniques to help you go inward and to unlock to unlock this power that's within. Thank you for listening. If you liked that episode, please subscribe, like, and write a review. Let me know how that landed with you. If you'd like to support this podcast, please check out in the show notes where you could buy me a chai tea, or you can join my newest podcast membership for exclusive episodes, guided meditations, and transformative exercises that you won't find anywhere else. For more transformational tools, techniques, and programs, check out my website, theenrichmentacademy.com. Bring your journal, open your heart, and let's get ready for some serious transformation.